Hey everybody, how's it going? So we knew this day would come. Um, this day is finally here. I've recorded 15 episodes of Deep Rock Galactic Roguecore closed alpha, and it is finally time to give my premature, I guess, final review of what I think. I guess I should say so far. Um, but as you'll see in a few seconds here with the footage I have, maybe not so much. This morning they released an update that I don't know if is logged on the actual official changes, but they updated some stuff, which is cool. They changed around the brig a little bit. I didn't play a level or anything like that, but my biggest fear came to pass, which was they did reset progress, which they said they were going to do. That wasn't like some big surprise, but as you can see here, it's making me go through the tutorial again and everything. Like they did a full reset on everything. Just still in alpha, like still in the alpha, like not even transitioning to the full game, carrying over. Like they already did it. They already pulled the trigger. Um, so yeah, that kind of feels like shit. My character got reset, all my perks got reset. Um, so that kind of sucks, but it is what it is. That's like basically the first topic of discussion is just like them resetting what progress carries over, but it's none. It's nothing at all, which is whatever. It's fine. I have my progress. I have my adventures logged on YouTube. So that's all I care about. But going forward, I have to say that this was a middle of the road experience. I can't say I had too much hate about it, but I can't say I had a fantastic time either. There are definitely gripes that I will discuss in detail very, very shortly. But before we get on the bad note, I do want to, say what I was very happy about with what I saw here. Um, I think genuinely across the board, all of the upgrades, all of this, the style is always super consistent. Upgrades for characters, the new abilities like the Falcon, that was the one I liked the most. Super cool stuff, always super, super cool stuff. That's never what they have a problem with. Of course, art style is super unique, still carrying over from the base game, Deep Rock, and Survivor as well. You can see they shuffled some stuff around here with the brig here. They did a whole new bar system. They actually have a gym over to the left side. Like just super quirky, super interesting, cool stuff. Genuinely like intriguing stuff that adds to the full DRG universe, which is, always super cool. Um uh just genuinely good. Like that's always just a thumbs up from them. They know how to do that properly. Um but going just down a list of things that I liked and or things I'd like to see. Um, I think the um enemies specifically, like each of the enemies, I've been playing a lot of Icarus lately with Ryan, here on the channel, and I think a really cool thing that they could do, because this is a roguelike. Despite all of the similarities between this and Deep Rock, it is different, and I think they could really lean into that. If they have something like the Icarus, the more enemies of one type you kill, you get a bonus from doing that. Like the first few hundred, it could be just like a data log or something like that. It could just be something, static, something that doesn't affect you at all. But, you start killing them by the thousands, like, it doesn't need to be a direct damage bonus the way I think it's going to be in Icarus. But even, like, small buff stuff where it's like, if you kill them, maybe you get a little more red sugar if you have that one upgrade. Stuff like that. Just stuff to make the carrying over the repetitiveness a little less sloggy, because that's always something you have to address when you're making a roguelike is, how do I break it up so it's not just, oh, I got a new gun this run and I got a new item. It's like it's the between run stuff, which is honestly more important for staying power. And all I play is roguelikes, whether it's Enter the Gungeon, whether it's Balatro, whether it's this, whether, half my library is roguelikes. Those are some of my favorite games just because they I guess, bring me the most joy. I love the sense of unlocking things and like filling out a compendium and like seeing everything, seeing all the little secrets on the maps and stuff like that. Like that's so awesome. Um, but I think that's one thing that they could do is just like, make the vanquishing of this stuff. Almost like the lithophage in DRG. Like that was such a cool concept. Like you're purifying the like a diseased planet. Like that could really feel like you're getting rewarded for really putting in the extra mile. Um so I think that could be cool. That could be a cool little thing. Um I think another idea I had, which could also be cool, is something I wouldn't even be able to experience even if it wasn't in the game. It was like if you did team upgrades, but also with individual upgrades. So let's say, for example, when you level up, when you get enough Exponite, you deposit it all. You get enough to level up, and instead of getting an upgrade for yourself, you could get a team upgrade for everyone. So it's like if everybody chooses to do a team upgrade and sacrifice their level up, you all get the same buff. Basically, it could be like a reload speed thing, it could be a movement speed thing, um, but it could be like almost like a stronger thing that you really can't get anywhere else, like an upgrade you can't really get anywhere else unless everybody's on board, something like that. I thought that could be interesting as well. Um, I really liked the unlocks and like the tier system they had when you're selecting a level, like straight up missions and getting like key cards to access more stuff. Like, we didn't always have the sentries, the activatable sentries, like not all mission things like within the levels were activated right off the bat, which was super cool. I like that a lot too, where it's like you see something, oh, you need the gamma card to unlock this. Cool, how do I get the gamma card? Oh, just do this, and you can get it. And then you could go back to those missions, or, at least go back into missions and find those same structures, basically. I mean, like, oh, I can actually interact with this now. It's like, that's the kind of stuff in roguelikes that builds intrigue. It makes you want to solve it, whether it's a puzzle or whatever. It makes you want to solve it, it makes you want to hunt for it. Good on that. That was cool. I like that. Um, in the beginning, a lot, if you go back, if you're seeing this episode, this is the first one. In the beginning, I complained a lot about ammo and armor and stuff like that. I will still be complaining about armor in a few, but I think I definitely learned how to manage ammo better, especially as a one-man band. Um, it's just something you kind of have to get used to. You can't really run around like the way you have to in DRG. It's very different. You have to be more submissive. You have to be a little bit more reserved with what you're firing at, what type of enemies you're taking down, and of course, if you're alone like I was for 15 episodes, you have to just be more conscious about what you're firing at, basically. But I think I got better at that, so I like that as well. I like that was a learning curve for me. I appreciate that. Um, the last idea I had that I can think of off of the top of my head was almost like a bobblehead from Fallout 4, where it's like they have like the deconstructed mining facilities in the game, in the levels, where you can kind of like dig around and just kind of like like the catwalks almost that go nowhere that are in the earth. It'd be really interesting if on rare occasions there were like bobbleheads that like lasted with you throughout the level. Again, a similar thing, just like small buffs and stuff for like searching around and really being mindful, basically, almost like the lost miner caches in base game DRG, where it's like you have to just drill out into an area. It shows up on your map, but it's way the far out. It's like that could be really interesting. That could be really, really interesting. And whether it's a permanent thing, like over a few missions, where you can collect like a bunch of bobbleheads back in the ship and stuff like that. Like it could be anything, but I think that idea could be tapped in to do something else. I don't know. It's just something that came to mind. Um, I think the only other thing I said I had one more, but I actually do have one more past that. Um, it's less of an idea. I think it's more just like a warning, I guess. I think that the guns have to be, everybody says, oh, well, I want more guns, I want more upgrades, I want different types of stuff. But I think it's less about that, and I think genuinely they should do the Balatro way of thinking, where it's like, okay, everybody's seen guns before. Everybody knows the SMG, the assault rifle, the minigun, the shotgun. Like, everybody's seen these things a million times before. How do you make them interesting, right? Even if you're unlocking them and you get your starter pistol, whatever, there's the heavy weapons crate that you could get later on in missions. Super cool, awesome. How do you make it interesting, right? I think genuinely, if you follow the Balatro way of doing things where you have additions onto your base set, where it's like, Balatro did it in the way it's like everybody's seen a deck of 52 cards. There's nothing special about a deck of 52 cards. How do you make that interesting? You add stamps, you make them holographic, you add little like triangles on the side, and they all do different things. I think that same motive, I think that same idea could be straight and plug and played, like applied to the guns in this game. I think it could be really, really interesting if they do a system where it's like a stamper, like a weapon stamper, and it gives, like adjacently, like if you have the stamps in Balatro, they do stamps, like, again, gun stamps are like whatever, like, almost like the Borderlands companies, like the gun companies, like Jacobs and stuff, where it's like they have different stamps. You could go to a thing, you get a random elemental modifier on your gun. It's like just a machine. Maybe you have to unlock it with the key cards, like later on. You can only get them later on, but just like a thing that sits there. It's like, oh, that's really interesting. It's got like fire symbols, and it's got the toxic symbol on it, whatever. It's like, oh, how do I unlock that? And then when you do, it just applies a stamp, basically applies a stamp to your gun. You could do it for free, especially if you unlock it. But you could have it applied to a gun. I think that could be really cool as well. On a similar effect, I think you could also do almost like how TF2 has sheens on guns, but ones that actually affect gameplay that aren't just cosmetic. Like sheens and gun skins that like upgrade your weapon. So it's almost like if you find like a quote unquote find a legendary item where it's like, there's a thing in Enter the Gungeon where it's called the Gun Muncher. It's a little green box, and you could feed 2 of your guns to it, and it'll give you a random gun. That's typically a better gun of a better quality, but something like that where you feed it a gun, and maybe it doesn't, you don't need to feed it 2, but you can like upgrade it if you find it. It's like you feed it a gun, like a pack-a-punch almost. You feed it a gun, it gives you something back, like a unique variant of the weapon. And maybe it's like the Expedite test subject where it's like it's just a spawnable thing. You have to do something, like fight something or whatever, to unlock it, to get it usable for everybody in the mission. But I think that could be really cool too, where you have all of the cosmetics of DRG base game are just like, they are strictly cosmetic, but because you're not choosing your weapons preemptively, you can kind of open the door for that being your cosmetic. Like, oh, I really like this thing, I'm gonna try to get the fire stamp, and then it'll have this unique weapon, and it'll be like an SMG with fire damage on the thing, but it's the unique variant. Like, you could take that to so many different levels, so many different steps, because they're never, I do not see this game doing like the CSGO route of things where it's like you select all your guns preemptively, you select all your skins in the menu, and then when you're in game you have all your skins. Like, that just seems so odd. I don't think that they would do that, especially because it seems like there are a lot already, and they are going to continue to add more. Because even if you took all the guns from base game, that's 3 per, what is that, 3 times 3 times 4, even if you took all those and applied all the skins, that's already hundreds of skins. Hundreds of quote-unquote different weapons, technically. That, you could, quote-unquote, you could just say that they're different. You could just say that they're different weapons. On top of all the grenades, on top of all the different gadgets and and like tools and widgets and stuff like that. Gadgets and grenades. So I think that could be another interesting thing to explore. See if that would work. Again, yeah, just like see how I know this game doesn't really get too gun modify-y, but they have the workbench, which just straight up adds a thing onto your gun. So I think it's fair to assume that just adding on, like, oh, does an additional 50% of your original damage also as fire damage? Because I don't like the replace shit. I really don't. I can't stand that, where it's like, oh, half your damage was bullet damage, but now it's poison damage. It's like, make it just tacked on. Make it 150 damage, but the 50 that's getting added is elemental damage, because it's never that effective. It's not like, it isn't like Borderlands damage where like most of your things are like, oh, these enemies are weak to this type. Like robots, you want to use lightning damage. Like, it's never that effective. It's never that carrying, and there's really not that much to like synergize with it. From what I've seen in the closed alpha, there's really nothing like, oh, if you do poison damage, you do more poison damage. Like, the most you have that is like the fire trail and the poison cloud walk, or the surging sparks, but that doesn't really synergize. That's just doing more damage of that elemental type. So I think that could be cool stuff if you really want to push the elemental, and then you could do like real elemental stuff where it's like fungus bogs is all poison. Poison's less effective type, type of Pokemoning with all the types, the elemental types and stuff. I think that could be really cool as well. But I think now we have to get into the negatives, because there are quite a few that we must discuss. Unfortunately, I have so many post-it notes. I have so many post-it notes for negatives, and I hate to say it, but I gotta do it. I'm just gonna go down the list. I don't think cave leeches, I don't think any of the grabbing enemies belong in this game. It just is completely against the game design of what they were going for. The whole point of the missions is to be fast and efficient and agile, and having things that slow your roll to such a degree, it just does not fit the game design. And you could say, oh, if you be watchful and all that shit, but like, it just doesn't fit. It just doesn't fit. Getting punished for having to run through an area and not being super careful in every single room when you're on a clock, those two things are just so against each other. That is like a train trying to hit another train. It's just it's such a collision course of ideas, and that's twofold, especially for when you go overtime into the red, and you have not only infinite spawning enemies, so you're already getting punished for staying too long, infinitely spawning enemies, but you also get the sprouts, the rock sprouts that come out of the wall that attack you, can lock on, can attack you, but also grab you, stun you for a few seconds, do damage, throw you, do damage, and then you do fall damage too. It's just too much. The grabbing enemies gotta go. All of them have to go. They don't work. They already don't work. I already hate them in base game DRG, but at least it can be a slower paced game where, you could just kind of hang out, take your time, depending on the mission. I've stayed in missions personally for DRG. I've stayed in missions for like 2 hours. A few missions I've stayed in there for like 2 hours, and you could just kind of hang out with your boys, make sure you got every little last thing. But that is clearly not the game design of Roguecore. That is just so far from what they're shooting for. I just do not think that they belong, any of the grabbing enemies. I don't think that I forget what it's called, but not the Trijaw, but the grabber, the big beetle grabber that's in DRG. I don't think that's in Roguecore, but God bless, they need to never add it and remove the other two, because I'm sorry, it's just, I'm such a non-fan. I'm just so against that. I'm also kind of worried about how it's going to be balanced for solo play, because no matter how much they're pushing for a co-op roguelike experience, I'm of the opinion that roguelikes are meant to be played solo. It is, regardless of how you make your game, regardless of how you balance everything out, they are meant to be played solo. That is the nature of the game. It's why, it's why games like Elden Ring are solo. Yeah, that's why those games, because it's like adding multiple people is such a difference in the balance. That's why Night Rain had to be its own game. That's why it had to be separated like that. I think genuinely splitting it up like that, specifically in Elden Ring's case, was the smartest idea that they could have had. Because I know a lot of people were complaining about, oh, why couldn't it just be a game mode? I think it's smart. It's smart to do that. And I think the same logic can be applied here. I think either there needs to be heavy, extreme, precise balancing when it comes to solo games versus any form, 2, 3, 4 players of co-op. I think there needs to be heavy, precise balancing when it comes to everything. It's not just changing damage numbers around. It's everything. It's amount of waves that you have per mission. It's the time allotted. It's amount of things that spawn, not enemies, like the structures and all that stuff, like the mission, the things like the event structures, that kind of stuff. All that stuff has major impacts on the game itself. And I think all of that has to be looked at on a very like fine microscope and truly like fine tuned, because otherwise it's just going to be a mess. Because that kind of rolls into my next point of DRG. There's only a benefit from helping your teammates, but like it seems like there's a few things in Roguecore that kind of work against your teammates a lot, and it's things that I've kind of had lingering in the back of my mind that I'm very worried about. Namely, two things. I think the biggest one is, I think Cooper, right? Cooper is the REPD. Pulling Cooper back and forth in DRG is already annoying as it is, especially if you're not playing with friends, you're not in comms. They advertise this game as like a random, you could jump in just like DRG, just jump in with anybody and, go whatever. But pulling your Expedite deposit, which is also your level up station, between an entire map that's pretty linear, and then also being on a clock the whole time, seems like the worst idea of all time. Just putting that in perspective, that sounds like such a terrible idea. I have not played, again, to this day, I have not played with people, so I cannot tell you how that works. But I can only imagine, even if there is a way that they do it now, because of course they have to make it work somehow, I don't trust that it'll work well, because there's just no way that they make that work. Either there's only two ways you can truly do it. Either everybody has to be in the same spot for the level up to be claimed, which is awful, or when the level comes time, you have it stuck to the RPD, and he's just kind of sitting there with the bubble with the star, and you have to walk to him to get your level up, which also could be a mess, because if someone's continuously pulling him along, trying to get him somewhere, and that's not you, and you're not the one, let's say you have 4 dwarves, it's not you pulling him along, you're just going to be deprived of your level up. And another side thing is, like, it could be like the workbench, where it doesn't pause the game while you're trying to select a thing, select an upgrade. Similar, because right now, for some odd reason, even in solo, the workshop doesn't pause your game and enemies can still attack you, but the level up does pause your game, and you could spend as much time as you want selecting your upgrades, your level up upgrades. I don't know. It's really weird. There's just very inconsistent gameplay mechanic roles that show their faces, basically. I'm just very cautious on how that and how random armor spawns are going to work, because you can get at the start of every mission, you get a 4-pack of armor. Fine, everybody gets one. Hopefully, you hope everybody gets one. Because it's still only 50%. It doesn't max you out, so, there is the potential of people double dipping and stealing your armor, and then you're literally left to die. It's not like, oh, well, I'll just get my nitra and call down another supply for myself. I'll just be a little greedy off of it. No, it's like there is no extra armor, there is no extra ammo. The only other armor is the ones that spawn on the tables and stuff, and that seems like it can also be greeted. And just, it seems like it's only a one-person use. Someone walks up, they grab it, that's gone. I don't know. I'm just very wary about random 4-player cooperation, because there's really not many incentives besides just getting the mission done to work well and not leave people behind. Which is worrying. That's why I've played solo already. That's why I've kind of stayed there. Not even because I don't want to play with people in an alpha, but it's just, I just have no drive to yet. So, that being said, moving on. I think a lot of the enemies can be slower. Genuinely, I think a lot of the enemies get slower because your character is already super sluggish. Either your character's got to be like 5 or 10% faster. They got to just make the dwarves just a little bit faster. It could be literally just like the smallest increment on a meter. It just needs to be, they need to be a little bit faster because they're getting whacked by shit that you're just like nowhere near an enemy. It's just a little grievance, but it's just enough that I know I have to mention it. I have to say something or I'm gonna lose it. Um, we all know my feelings if you've seen any of my videos about Gatekeeper B. Fuck Gatekeeper B. If that guy stays in the full game, I'm refunding straight up. I'm sure they either rebalance him so he's dog shit and he doesn't do any damage, or they remove him. There's no in between. They gotta get rid of that motherfucker. I really don't like him. I, I, I have malice in my heart. I do not like him. He does not work as a boss. Please remove him before the full game is released. You need to rework him. You gotta retool him. Whatever you gotta do. He's gotta go, bro. He's gotta go. He's gotta go. Get gone. Get him out. Kick him through the door. Whatever you gotta do. Take him out back. Shoot him in the back of the head. Whatever you gotta do. Not good. Gatekeeper B does not work in Deep Rock. You're not fast enough to dodge his attacks. The collisions are whack as shit. The suck-in attack is abysmal when it comes to hitboxes and how far you have to be, and the rocks are stupid. So all just needs to be scrapped. Just throw them in the bin, and that's all I'll say about that before I get too angry about it. I think that as well as giving Cooper upgrades, because obviously Cooper is not going to be around when you have the multiple people, I think with each level up of the party, of the 4 stack of dwarves or whatever, whenever you're playing co-op and you don't have Cooper, or Roscoe Cooper, I'm forgetting the names now. When you only have the REPD, when you only have the one that you put your ores into, I think every level he should get like a 10% speed boost as well. I think there should be things that exponentially or like perfectly, get a little bit faster as each thing, because they got to keep up with you. Because if you're moving so many times, I was moving fast. I have to be here, lock this robot down, and he'll just not be fast enough. He'll be tailing behind me. He'll be slower than I need him to be. And when you're being chased by a million things and you need to deposit your Expedite, you can't wait for, a slowdown. You might need that health and that time right then and there. So I think genuinely, I think they need to speed him up just a little bit. Just enough to make it count. Also, him just getting up and leaving when he thinks that he's done, I really don't appreciate that. In solo, he was just getting up and leaving. It was like, I wasn't moving. Like, a lot of times I would plant him somewhere really close. I'd just like go to interact with like one of the machines or like a sentry or something, and he'll just get up and walk away. He'll just like float away. It's like, what are you doing, bro? Where are you going? I'm the only one here. It'd be different if there were 4 players, but there aren't. It's just like, that is something they just have to fix. That it's not a bug, but they just have to fix it. Just like, if he's not called anywhere else, if he has nowhere else to be and there are people still near him, he should not move a goddamn muscle. He should not move a goddamn circuit. He should stay exactly where he is, especially if he was put there, not even if he floated off to somewhere. He should be put somewhere, and if he was locked on a flag to be put somewhere, he should not be moving. There's no universe that he should be moving around. Again, another personal grievance, just like a little pet peeve of mine, but when you're playing, it's all uber noticeable and super annoying. It's just one of those things. I think, the single armor I talked about, I think it's not, I wouldn't go as far as to say that it's like promoting selfish play, like, oh, they got to remove this because people are gonna grief and all that. Like, I don't think that much, but I think they just have to be more conscious about solo players like me, solo players not wanting to play with other people, not even because of the stipulations of like, oh, how is this gonna work in multiplayer? It's just like, it's a roguelike, man. I don't want to have to play with other people. It's cool if I can, but I think any game, even if it is multiplayer, and online multiplayer is different. If it's Warframe or whatever, and you need a full stack, you're not doing 1v5 on CS:GO and expecting to win every time. No, but it's like it's coming from a game that feels very solo friendly, and making it a roguelike kind of just continues to lean into that. So I think just balancing it for solo players is important just as much as it is for normally balancing it for a full stack of four. Um, I think it's a lot of pet peeve stuff that just comes together and really makes the experience like sluggish is the best way to put it. I think removing the stuns after every time you fall, not even taking fall damage, would be a godsend, because again, that's just like there's so much stuff that's just like stupid shit, just stupid annoying shit that just does not need to be exist that not does not need to exist. And the fact that I have to mention it at all is just like, it just seems like such an oversight. It just seems like if they noticed this and you said this to them, they'd be like, yeah, why is it still in the game? Why did we leave this in? The Cooper thing just floating away, like RBD just floating away, stuns after every little bit of fall damage, even if it's not doing actual damage, just after every height you get slowed down to a crawl for like half a second. Like, it's just annoying shit. Like, it's straight up, it's just annoying shit that just does not need to exist. Just things to slow down the game more than you're already, again, strapped for time on a clock, and in my case, alone. Um, and I think the only other thing I'd say for quote unquote downsides is just you need, like, I don't know what the whole armor situation is gonna be like. And I don't even mean about like the random, I just mean like you get hit and all your armor just kind of like dissipates. It kind of just like fizzles away. And I don't really get that point of it. I think that they were trying something new, because every game does armor the same, where it's just like, oh, it does it before your health and then you don't die. It's like, but the way they did it doesn't really work, and it doesn't really feel good at all to just like pick up a bunch of armor from all the things, like spend time watching a little meter tick all the way up to collect armor, and then you get hit by one enemy and it's just gone. It just vanished. And then you have all these armor upgrades and it doesn't prevent the armor loss like at all. It just like you have more to lose. It doesn't feel like, oh, it's protecting you for longer. It just, no, it just has a larger number for it to fizzle, like to start chipping away at. And it's like your entire meter by the time you get hit by like 2 attacks. It's like, what the fuck is the point of armor? That's why it was always over across my whole 15 episodes. Every single time I was investing in health over armor, because why the fuck would I ever pick armor if it's just gonna dissipate in front of me? And it doesn't regen like normal armor does in DRG. It does. There's no overshield. There's no Fortnite overshield. That doesn't exist. That doesn't exist at all. So I think either they make armor stronger and they make it a little more tanky, a little more worth the investment of like making the max armor a little more, going out of your way to pick up the armor things on the tables. I think they either do that, make it a little stronger, or they just remove like the decay shit that they have, because that stuff's really weird. I don't really know what they were smoking when they decided to do it that way, but it's different, but it's not good different. It's just different for the sake of being different, but not realizing why other games do it the way they do it the way that they do. It's like, because there's really no other good way to do it that doesn't feel like shit. With no easy way to restore your things other than picking up armor that's immediately going to flake off you and just melt off your person immediately. So yeah, not a fan of that. Not a fan of that whole system. I really hope that gets adapted, changed, evolved, warped to be something completely different. That's everything I had wrote down for goods and bads and ideas, just across the board. Um, that's really it. I mean, at the end of the day, we're gonna have to just kind of all wait and see with our thumbs twiddling until the full game gets released. And again, despite all my negativity, I'm super grateful to have the ability to play it early and experience it early and be able to talk about it early. And of course, the whole point of the closed alpha was to get feedback, see what people are saying. There are things that they need to fix. And I think that, again, they do a lot of great stuff. They do a lot of good work. Again, art direction on fucking point. weapon design on point, effects, all that kind of stuff, atmosphere, locked in on all that. That stuff's super cool, and I know it's only going to improve. I just think that there's a lot of like game balance. It really feels like a game that artists made, then they figured out the game stuff later. Like even DRG, with a lot of like early DRG, felt the same way. It felt like a game like they had really cool concept artists, they had really cool like ideas for things and like how they things would work, and then they implemented everything and it was like, ooh, this is tougher than we thought. Kind of like the afterthought was the game, almost. And I mean that in the nicest way possible, because again, the art is really, really cool. Like monster designs, again, on point. Like all this different stuff. Like there's so few things between all three games that like cross over. You know, they invented a whole new different species for Roguecore. It's completely different. They added whole new enemies, which I appreciate, because they could have just added the grunts, that the Glyphids back and the Macteras back, and they called it a day. Just like asset rip from their own shit and just plop it in the next game. And I'm sure they'll port some of the monsters over. That's fine. Again, I'm fine with that. That's okay. But the fact that they went the extra mile and designed more monsters is cool. Like new characters, new abilities that like actually look different. It's not like, oh, here's just a bubble, it's a sphere. And it's like, no, there's like a falcon that's made out of like glass shard, like metal and glass shards that you can send out, flies around. Like that's cool. That's really, really cool. But again, I feel like it's definitely a game made by artists with a game thought after later. That definitely needs some fining, tuning, reworking, and the fact that, if that is true, depending on how true that is, the fact that they've made a fun game and have made fun games in the past is a true testament to how skilled their team is as well. Because even though I feel like that, I think DRG and DRG Roguecore, I haven't really played that much Survivor, I think both of those games are strong on their own, despite me saying that, which is cool. Again, super cool, awesome. Can't wait to see it. Super grateful for the ability and the allowance acceptance for playing the closed alpha. I can say I had a lot of fun. Sucks that my progress got restarted. I have to take a peek into what the reset even entailed. I have to take a deeper look into that. Um, because if it wasn't like super balance changes and the levels look identical, and they all look the same still, I don't know if I need to be doing another 6 episodes, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 episodes going forward, because if it's going to just be more of the same, I'm not unlocking everything over again. I'm sorry, I'm just not. Because then I'm going to have to do it a third time, and I'm already going to have to do it a second time when the full game comes out. So I don't know if I'm going to be doing it 3 times in a row, basically literally in a row, because I'm recording these episodes as the weeks fly by. Basically, I haven't done them all in one shot and then sat down and released them all. I'm doing them over the week, so it will be back to back to back to back to back, retracing my steps 3 times over, because the game's slated to come out soon. So yeah, that's why I wasn't really a fan as well of the resetting all my fucking progress for the past few months, but it's fine. They have to do what they have to do. I don't think it was necessary, literally at all, but I'm not a game developer, and I'm not them, so I can't tell them what to do. I can only give my opinions, give my advice, give my warnings, and we go from there. But that will, of course, impact how much I play it in the future. But we'll see. But with that being said, that's my piece. That's my opinion. That's my 2 cents. I want to thank you guys so much. If you haven't seen any of the episodes, it's plenty of footage. If you don't believe me on anything I'm saying, 15 episodes on the channel, down below, in the playlist, all that kind of stuff. Plenty of footage for exactly what I'm talking about. I definitely, I went back and I looked at some of the things I was talking about, some of the things I did complain about. And I obviously compiled them here. But if you don't believe me, check out any of those videos. Plenty of stuff to back up and support what I'm saying. Also, if you're just curious to see what the game looks like, you haven't seen anything, plenty of hours of Roguecore content, all there, all in the playlist, all on the channel. Go check those out. Those are super cool. Those are super fun. I just hang out and talk about shit for about an hour and a half for each episode. And that's going to be it. Yeah, if you guys are getting excited for the game, let me know down in the comments. Let me know if you are one of the rare few who have access to the to the to the closed alpha, and you're one of the other lucky few. Please let me know again, also in the comments. And Ghost Ship, hear my call. I'm lighting the braziers. We're signaling you down to talk about it as well. It's they're super transparent. I can't even talk shit about that. They are super transparent about everything that goes on. Behind the scenes, they have nothing really to hide. So all love there. But if Ghost Ship at all, any executive or anything, any developer sees this video specifically, but any of my videos, cool. I hope you like it. Hope you heed my words. And I think that's gonna be all. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, check out those videos on the channel if you have not seen any content, because I know it's rare right now. Thank you guys one more time for listening to me yap for 40 minutes. Jesus Christ. And I'll talk to you guys hopefully in the next Roguecore video. We'll talk soon. Love you guys. Have a lovely day. See ya.